Welcome to another episode of Heat Treat Radio. My name is Doug Glenn. I'm the publisher of Heat Treat Today, and I have the privilege of being the host of Heat Treat Radio. Today, we're going to cover a topic that deals with the Industrial Heating Equipment Association, who you might hear us refer to as IHEA, the Industrial Heating Equipment Association's Decarbonization SUMMIT, which is coming up here in the not too distant future. We'll give you more details on that in just a minute. And to join the discussion today is Jeff Rafter. I'd like to introduce Jeff, and then we'll jump right into questions. Jeff is the VP of Sales and Marketing at Selas Heat Technology, which is located in Streetsboro, Ohio. Additionally, his company, Selas, is an IHEA member company, and Jeff is the current president of IHEA, as well as one of the driving forces and coordinators behind the upcoming Decarbonization Summit at the Conrad Hotel, which we'll give you more details on that in a minute. So with that, Jeff, first off, welcome. And would you mind telling us, just so we can get it out quickly, when and where is the summit, and what was the driving force behind deciding to do this summit?
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate you having me today. The IHEA Decarbonization Summit is going to occur at the Conrad Hotel in Indianapolis, Indiana, beginning on Monday, October 28th, and ending on Wednesday, October the 30th. The drive in creating an event such as this was, frankly, IHEA membership had often commented on and lamented the frequent inquiries they get from the customer base broadly across all sectors of manufacturing, looking for clarification in the ongoing changes in the U.S. energy infrastructure, and specifically how to manage the requirement to reduce carbon dioxide emissions. There's a lot that's changing quickly in the U.S. energy infrastructure around renewables, electrification, and low carbon fuels. And frankly, the IHEA board felt that it was essential to assist manufacturing members by trying to clarify these topics in an interesting event that presented the information objectively, without bias, and provided diverse array of all the decarbonization pathways available to manufacturers today.
Yeah. And it's interesting to me that IHEA decided to take it on. For those who might not know what IHEA is, what makes IHEA uniquely qualified to present such a summit?
I'm proud to say that IHEA is a very unique organization. Many trade organizations don't have the long-standing success that this organization has in supporting members.
Yeah.
The composition of IHEA, really now being very close to 100 years old, was made up originally of heating appliance and heating component manufacturers who frankly has spent most of our history focused on industry education as a service to all the member companies. In that venue, we felt like this was the perfect organization to take up the topic of sustainability and decarbonization because we are education focused. With that background and that bias, really, we're leveraging thousands of years of experience
Yeah.
over a broad array of manufacturing options from traditional fossil fuels through electrification. So our member companies provide a very strong basis to provide real world examples of how to deal with reducing CO2 emissions.
Yeah. And if I'm thinking correctly too, IHEA actually has a standing history of cooperation and working with the DOE on different things from the past. So,
Very good point, Doug. If you look back in history, before CO2 reduction and decarbonization became buzzwords, we spent a lot of similar efforts working with government organizations, research laboratories, and third
right,
party organizations around topics of NOx reduction and trying
right.
to create a cleaner basis of industrial manufacturing and energy. In addition, we have always spent our time helping on the business concerns of being efficient, not only operating successfully heating processes and appliances, but also making manufacturing more cost effective.
Yeah. There's a history there. So that's good. And speaking of DOE, I see that there are, from the agenda that you've gotten, by the way, anybody listening, we will put up on the screen at some point here where you can go to find out more information. But I do see, if you look through the agenda, that you've got some pretty high profile speakers coming. Keynote speaker Dr. Avi Schultz from the US DOE, who we just mentioned, and he's on the Industrial Decarbonization Initiative. You got Palomi Nandi from Oak Ridge National Lab, Jeff Kamen from John Deere, Tim Hill from Nucor. There are quite a few fairly significant names in there. Can you give us a sense of what these guys are going to be, guys and or gals will be talking about and other topics that will be hit?
Absolutely. Doug, we're very excited to have the diverse mix of speakers that will make up the summit presentations. With Dr. Schultz and with Miss Nandy, we're very excited that we're providing a third party opinion, government organizations and research laboratories, and they will be presenting on their views on the trends in the future in sustainability and decarbonization. When we move to some of the other presenters, like Tim Hill from Nucor and Mr. Kamam from John Deere, realistically, we also wanted members and attendees to take away from the summit real world experience.
Yeah.
This isn't imagined or planned changes. We wanted companies that had actual experience in decarbonization, even actions towards net zero positions, to share with attendees exactly how they approached the challenges. Because, of course, some of the issues around sustainability is that it comes at a cost.
Yeah.
And how do you fund that? How do you research that? Where do you go look for grants? And how do you make the business case towards decarbonization or any sustainability action for that matter? And then finally, adding to those two bodies of participants, we have a number of presenters who will be speaking about real world solutions today. IHEA's view on decarbonization and sustainability is that it's a very broad set of pathways that you can undertake today with inexpensive, readily available technologies,
Yes.
all the way out to longer term solutions like full electrification of processes. So there's more than one way to approach this challenge and really do the responsible thing in manufacturing, which is begin to address our CO2 production globally.
Yeah. You mentioned electrification. A lot of people, when they hear decarbonization, even the word sustainability, to be quite frank, they often think electrification. So I guess my question is, and there may be a lot of people that are listening to this who are going to be saying, I'm primarily combustion. Should I be going? Is it, and in, is what's going to be presented only electrification solutions, or are we talking about combustion solutions as well to help with decarb?
I would say the answer to that question is yes, you should be going, irregardless of whether your focus and your background is in traditional fossil fuel combustion or electrification. The summit will actually contain a very nice balanced approach of different technologies, again, presented with no bias. The goal of this summit is education to help business leaders make better decisions around their energy management and their environmental concerns.
Yeah.
With that said, when we look at the body of what's available in the agenda, electrification is an important topic. But as a lot of people recognize, some portions of electrification are just relocating to a different fossil fuel farther away from the point of use,
Yeah.
whilst other electrification options linked to renewable energy sources truly can become close to net zero production in CO2. IHEA's view again is that there are many sustainability pathways that we can all investigate or pursue. Some maintain fossil fuel bases. Some industrial processes will be challenged to move to an electric heating source. And then for other processes, electrification is the cat's meow. So it's that broad suite of diverse technologies that really, to me, everyone needs to be educated on to make better decisions when the time comes.
Right. I want to combine two questions that I had in my head here. One is, how technical will the summit be in the sense of, do I need to know heavy engineering, metallurgy, and things of that sort? And secondly, to who is this targeted? So maybe both of those things. How technical is going to be, and who should be coming?
Great question, Doug. Great question. Traditionally, a lot of what IHEA's educational content in the past has been was really directed at technical audience. It was technical education about how various energy sources and heating appliances work,
Right.
how to comply to code, how to approach the application of that equipment safely. In this particular summit, we've changed course a bit in that we didn't want this event to be a technical conference. The idea of this summit was to make it a business conference because, quite frankly, that's where most of the challenges exist when we start looking at sustainability efforts. With that said, the content that will be presented is a pleasant mix of some technical topics because, of course, we have to get to a basic rudimentary understanding of how all of these different technologies work. However, we're spending just as much time in the presentations addressing business concerns. How do you fund these various actions? Where can you
Yeah.
find available grants? What are the real world examples of how other companies have approached sustainability or beginning even an initiative internally? How do you get the support and the decision making moving in the right direction?
Yeah.
And with that said, when you look at the agenda that will be posted on the IHEA website, you'll see that the topics range broadly from some technology presentations to real world business concerns and, frankly, how to make those business decisions.
Yeah. All right. One last question. How much fun have you had putting this summit together?
In that regard, I would happily report it has been a tremendous team effort. I'm very proud to say that a lot of IHEA member companies and third parties have stepped up to help us construct this event.
Yeah.
We're really looking forward to it to being a valuable event that provides a lot of information and a lot of important takeaways for participants. So
Yeah.
it's been a true team effort. And quite frankly, I would applaud everyone for the input that's gone into this.
Great. We will put on the screen where you can go to get more information, which I will just mention is summit.IHEA.org. That's the website where you can go to find more information and to register as well. And I think Jeff mentioned the IHEA website, which is just simply IHEA, IHEA.org. You can also go there and find out information about the summit. All good stuff. I think that's it, Jeff. Anything else that I want to thank you first off, just I know you've put a lot of work into it. I've watched you do this over the last, I don't know, year and a half anyhow, and that you've done a great job coordinating it. So appreciate all your work putting this together.
Thank you much, Doug. I would just like to say in closing, for anyone that's thinking about coming to the IHEA Decarbonization Summit, please do. From the perspective that this is a very important topic for manufacturers, and you really need to take the approach of not waiting.
Yeah.
It's time to get in front of changes in our energy infrastructure and the need to decarbonize some manufacturing processes. This is a great way to get educated and start your plan.
Yes, thanks. And I did remember one, if you need one other motivation, if you're looking to stay at the hotel where the summit is being held, the cutoff date for hotel, you can still get into the summit even if you don't hit this cutoff date. It's just for the hotel rooms is October 7th. So that's probably coming up soon if you're listening to this when we first release it. So anyhow, appreciate it. Jeff, thanks very much for your time. I need to finish up and say just a few things here. And that's thanks for listening. Thank you, Jeff, for being here and giving us some information on the summit. And remember, if you want to find out more or to register at that Decarbonization Summit, please go to summit.IHEA.org. If you don't mind, give Heat Treat Radio a 5-star review or a like on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, iHeart, wherever you listen to your podcast stuff. Any positive rating will help us be heard by more people. And you can find more Heat Treat Radio episodes on Heat Treat Today's website. So that's heattreattoday.com/radio. If you just put in that shortcut, it will take you to the list of episodes. Let us know also if you want to hear something specific on Heat Treat Radio. If there's a topic you'd like for us to cover, please feel free to let us know. You can just send an email to me, Doug@heattreattoday.com. And this and every other episode of Heat Treat Radio is the sole property of Heat Treat Today and may not be reproduced in part or in whole without advance written permission from Heat Treat Today. My name is Doug Glenn. Thanks for listening. Appreciate it.